Right. So good evening. Today we are going to discuss about the trends in entrepreneurship. Okay. So in your lesson, small business and entrepreneurship, right? Under the lesson entrepreneurship, we are going to discuss the part where we are which is like last day we talked about the importance of entrepreneurship. So today we are to start the trends in entrepreneurship. Now, when it comes to entrepreneurship, we can see there are four trends or four types of entrepreneurship. Right? Four types or four trends in entrepreneurship. One is the global, right? One is the global entrepreneurship. The next is social, right? Social entrepreneurship, green entrepreneurship, right? The global entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, green entrepreneurship, and then we have this intra entrepreneurship. Global entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, green entrepreneurship, and intra. So those are some of the trends that you can see when it comes to entrepreneurship. Then what is entrepreneurship, right? What is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is a process where you are identifying a market opportunity, right? It is a process where you identify a market opportunity. And then what do you do? You collect the resources, right? You are collecting the resources to provide a solution, to provide an innovative solution, right? Provide an innovative solution for this opportunity, right? Entrepreneurship is where we are seeing a market opportunity or a problem in the market, and to address this problem, to address this opportunity, we are collecting the resources and then we are providing an innovative solution. And for this entire process, right? For this entire process, you are bearing a huge risk, right? So this is simply what you do when it comes to entrepreneurship. Opportunity का तीनों resources connect करेगा ना, universal innovative product का वही right innovative product देगी ये opportunity को grab करेगा. And to do all these things, you are bearing a very huge risk. So that was entrepreneurship. Ne? Then today we are going to discuss about the trends that you see in this entrepreneurship. So the first one is regarding global entrepreneurship. The first one is regarding global entrepreneurship. So let's see what is the definition say. This involves in engaging in trade on global scale, getting involved in trade from any part of the world with the support of technology is the essence in this trend. Businesses capable of promptly identifying the needs and wants of consumers and delivering their products based on the products beyond borders are successful in becoming global entrepreneurs. Now, the simple scenario, this is where entrepreneurship, right? The entrepreneurship which comes along with the technology, right? And entrepreneurship which solves a problem that the entire globe is having, right? The entire world is having this problem, and you're solving something that the entire world is. Or you're using technology, right? You're using technology to address a market opportunity. And to grab a market opportunity, you're coming up with the latest technology. For example, right? For example, we have this Facebook, right? Facebook is one of the prominent examples for this. I Facebook, right? Before Facebook comes, there were like no much, right? There were no much what do you call option, right? There are no much options to connect people in global term. Right? In the global level, means connect ಕೂಡ optimistic. Nothing anything, right? You had Skype, right? You had email, right? Gmails, right? You had Skype, you had email, you have Yahoo, right? ಇವಾಗೆ I think MySpace ಬಂದಲ್ಲ right ಇವಾಗೆ ಸಿಲ್ವಾ right ಇವಾಗೆ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಸಿಲ್ವಾ but Facebook was a kind of a different level right Facebook was kind of a different level. It addressed the problem, okay, addressed the problem of connectivity. लोग ඕනකන්ට connect වෙලා තමන්ගේ pictures දාන්න, තම කෙනෙක්ට comment කරන්න, තමන් දන්න දේවල් share කරගන්න පුළුවන් platform එකක් ගැන. So that is Facebook. So that is a global entrepreneurship. And then there was YouTube, right? A place where people can upload videos, right? A place where people can upload videos of anything, right? Something educational, something funny, right? Something maybe a blog or something. Okay. So people could have some entertainment. And people could watch some videos in their leisure time. Okay. So those became a global entrepreneurship, right? The entire world, right? The entire world is now using those technologies. Okay? This is what you call global entrepreneurship. And another one you can say, මම එදා කියලා දුන්නා Alibaba story එක. Not Alibaba, Amazon, right? The Amazon story of the Amazon. So Amazon, they saw that the internet usage is increasing year over year, a very huge number. And Jeff Bezos grabbed that opportunity by implementing a website and starting a business online. එහෙම පටන් ගත්ත business එක ඔන්න දැන් පට successful. The entire globe is now using this service, right? The entire globe is now using this Amazon.com. So this is what we call the global entrepreneurship. Okay. And then number two, right? And then number two, the social entrepreneurship, right? Hold on a second. Right. So I'll explain about the social entrepreneurship, right? Now, when it comes to social entrepreneurship, there was a person in Bangladesh, right? Bangladesh වල හිටියා Muhammad Yunus කියලා. Okay, right? There was Muhammad Yunus. Okay, so then in Bangladesh they had a problem where people are unable to get loans for businesses, right? People are unable to get loans for businesses since they don't have any collateral, right? Since they don't have any collateral. Again, අපේට තියන්න යාළුවෝ මොකුත් නැහැ. Right? මේ මිනිස්සු ළඟ අපේට තියන්න assets නැහැ. They don't have any assets to keep them as collateral. So that's the problem. Since they don't have collateral, they cannot obtain loans. Since they cannot obtain loans, they can't develop their business. So the society, like the people in Bangladesh, they were suffering, right? They were suffering in economic terms due to this problem. So Mr. Yunus, right, Muhammad Yunus, he came with a solution, right? He came with a solution. That is, you call the Grameen Bank, right? You might have this, you might have heard this, right? The Grameen Bank. So what do they do is they provide loans for small businesses, right? They provide loans for small businesses without any collateral, right? Without any collateral, they are providing loans. And this solution and this product, this Grameen Bank system is providing a solution to the people of Bangladesh that now those micro and small scale business people, they are able to get loans from this Grameen Bank for the development of their business. And this social entrepreneurship, right? This Muhammad Yunus, right? This person's social entrepreneurship, it is solving, right? It is solving a big problem that the society has. And this is a best example that I can give for social entrepreneurship. Mr. Yunus, right? He came up with Grameen Bank, and this is solving a financial problem that people of Bangladesh have. Right? They had a problem of developing their small businesses. They are unable to get loans from their local banks since they don't have collateral. And the Grameen Bank, they are coming up with a solution where you can obtain loans without any collateral. So that is one of the best examples for social entrepreneurship. Okay, I hope you understood. So the core here is the core of social entrepreneurship is to identify a problem that the society that you are living is having, right? Identify the problem that your society, right? lagi no problem, or community ko no problem. There is a problem na identify and solve that problem by giving them a solution. And this is what we call social entrepreneurship. Okay, so you can read the definition and all. I'll give examples and I'll give you stories so you can understand in a better way. And then there is green entrepreneurship. Now, green entrepreneurship is where it says addressing a problem that the environment does, right? You are addressing problems that the environment. Now, for this, we can take a couple of examples, right? For this, we can take a couple of examples. Now, what do you call this? Nigeria, right? In Nigeria, oh yeah, in Nigeria, there they have a company, right? They have a business organization which produces bricks, right? Gadol, right? They are producing bricks using, right? This is interlock bricks, huh? Right? Interlock gallery, interlock gallery. So they are producing interlock bricks using waste tile. Right? These businesses they are producing interlock bricks using waste tile. And like when Nigeria, African countries of the tires, conducting right? Conducting tires, right? मैं फोटो बंद होगी ये टायर का होगी all waste tires use का give then parts and better tires. So what do they do is they collect those tires, they take the metal out of it, right? Okay, competing on a competing aragana rubber like a shred right? Carry put they mix it with some adhesives and they compress it and they prepare bricks. Okay. So you can check YouTube as well, right? You can check YouTube as well regarding this. The thing is, they you can search for Nigerian business regarding interlock bricks, right? At the Nigerian business which solves the tire problem, like waste tire problem, search so you will find it. And another one, right? I give another solution. This I saw in something called Shark Tank, right? So this is a business I saw it YouTube as well. This is something we name it as the Blue Land, right? The Blue Land killer business segment. Okay. What do they do is, what does Blue Land do is, they identify, right? They identify the problem of cleaning items, right? Like cleaning items. They can dishwash, right? Dishwashing, right? Dishwash bottles in and everything problem. Now normally this dishwash bottle is plastic, right? This dishwash bottle is plastic. And here you have the liquid, right? You have the liquid. After you completely use this, after you finish this dishwash bottle, right? Make it not pass. Normally what we do is we dump it, right? You dump it to the waste. I don't know. And then you buy another bottle, right? Then you buy another bottle. So you do this again and again and again and again. And then you dump it again and again and again. Bottles are now being collected to the environment. Right? Environment empty bottles ended. From because of that, and because of these empty bottles, the environment is getting polluted. You know, degraded, right? And the environment is polluted. Now what happens is, Blue Land, they identified this problem, they came up with a solution. They identified, okay, people need only the liquid, right? People need only the liquid. People doesn't have to buy this bottle. So we'll have one single bottle, right? We'll have one single bottle, right? We'll have one single bottle. We'll replace this liquid with what? They came up with a compressed version, right? Mechanical someone get it, right? This is some kind of a detergent, a small cube. What you have to do, you have to buy the bottle only, and you have to put the cube, right? Cube stick whenever right? 40 cube bag. Now, suit cat 40 cube bag. You have to put it in this bottle, and then you have to add water, right? If you have to fill water, and you have to fill water, then give it two shakes, and then you can use it as a dishwash. And now once the bottle is empty, you can add another cube, add water, shake it, and use it. So only thing that you are going to replace is the cube, right? Only thing that you are going to replace is the cube and the water. The soap cube and the water is being replaced. The bottle is not being replaced. The bottle will be there. Then bottle like a environmental advantage. Now, right? The environment pollution is now stopped. Right? The environment pollution is now minimized, or environment pollution is now stopped. And only thing that you are using is now the cube of soap and the water. Okay. So what is this? The blue land. Like the business name is blue land. Or don't search right? Blue land. Right? So now this business is solving the problem that the environment has. So that is an innovative, creative thinking, right? These people are coming up with innovative and creative thinking, which can solve a problem that the environment has. The order full of business idea right? I don't know. You might come up with, you might see a problem that I don't see, right? Mama nadakina, abe wala problem kati environment, society. So you can give solutions for those problems, and you can make money as well. So this is what we call the green entrepreneurship. We are focusing on the environment. That is what we call green entrepreneurship. And then let's move on to the next one, that is intra-entrepreneurship. But the next one is regarding intra-entrepreneurship. So intra-entrepreneurship is where, right? The intra-entrepreneurship is where right? Intra-entrepreneurship is where the entrepreneurship that arises from the employees of the organization. It defines like this. This involves creative individuals holding various positions in a firm, makes changes to the products and production process of the firm. The top management of the firm motivates such personnel to work creatively. In this manner, the type of entrepreneurship which is operating and introducing novelties within the organization can be identified as intra-entrepreneurship. Now, uh, hold on. Okay, right. Now, for example, right, intra-entrepreneurship is where you have employee, like, for example, you have a management in an organization, like you have the management in the organization. Below this management, you have the employees, right? The entrepreneurship that comes up, right? The entrepreneurship that arises from this employees of the organization. Employees like in a entrepreneurship intra-entrepreneurship. Normally, the strategic decisions and all those things are made by the management. But there can be some problem that even the management can't solve. But but the employees, they might have creative solutions. They might have creative ideas compared to the management. Management right? Business management on the creative ideas in the employee section. So allowing these kind of people, allowing these kind of employees who have entrepreneurial skills, right? Allowing them to reach to the top, allowing them to arise from these places, right? That is what they call intranet. Now I'll give you an example. Now you know this Gmail that we use. अभी Gmail use करना है. You know Gmail is a perfect example for intranet. Why? Now, Google had a policy, right? Google, they have a policy that they call it as the 80-20 policy, right? The 80-20 policy. That means they have to work, right? An employee has to work, we'll say 10 hours per day, right? We'll say an employee has to work 10 hours per day in the Google, right? Out of this 10 hours, right? Out of these 10 hours, 8 hours has to be allocated, right? 8 hours has to be allocated for Google itself. And again, Google like Google 8 hours allocated. And out of that, 20%, that means 2 hours, right? 2 hours can be allocated for your own personal project. Right? When you are working 10 hours for Google, you have to work 8 hours for Google, and then they will give you 2 additional hours paid, like they are also paid, like 2 additional hours. So where you can work on your passion project, right? You can work on a passion project that you like. Or single project or any one project or cancel project. So this allows employees to work on for the company and to work on themselves as well. On Google, they had this 80-20 rule, and after they implemented, one day they came up with a solution, right? They came up with a product. This product is what we call as Gmail, right? Where you can send the images, where you can send business mails, right? Where you can share this and that. And they have feature where you connect computers all around the world. And this solution is an intra-entrepreneurship, right? And then Google acquired this and they started clear this. Okay. So this intra-entrepreneurship, right? Which comes, why? Because the Google is Google is motivating their employees to work on their passion projects. And these passion projects are now leading Google towards higher places. Understood? This is what we call intra-entrepreneurship. Again, simply organization की इतना employees लगा, right? Organization की इतना employees लगा, motivate करना, मैंने मेरा भी देवल करन, organization में कड़े करन ना, plus work in your passion project as well. ये तो भाई passion project taking, कौन market project है आपके को company एक आधा करना, company एक develop करना है. So this is what we call as intra-entrepreneurship. Company no daki na, but employee that no problem na कैसे society. So ये प्रथम है address करा. That is about intra-entrepreneurship. Sorry. Right. So next we'll move on to the next part. That is the entrepreneurial process. Now here under entrepreneurial process, steps, you have to write a small explanation what this entrepreneurial process is and all. There you can copy down this. Right. So under the entrepreneurial process, we have some plans. Copy down this part there. The development of entrepreneurship. The development of entrepreneurship is not a single incident. It is not a single incident. And it involves many steps in order to, and it involves many steps in order to eventually develop entrepreneurship. Eventually develop entrepreneurship. So you can stop this and again you can watch the you can hear it again and again. So it balanga by definition maker. Now while just keep explaining what this entrepreneurial process is, right? I'll just keep explaining what this entrepreneurial process is. Now, even though I said you identify a problem, you give a solution, and you become an entrepreneur. Right? You identify a problem, you give an innovative solution, you become an entrepreneur. Even easier water is not that easy, right? So you have to go through a certain process, right? To become an entrepreneur, you have to go through a certain entrepreneurial process. So this entrepreneurial process, like we have theorized this, like someone has theorized this, and they have come up with a theory, like they have come up with a theory that there are some steps, right, for an entrepreneur, right, to become a successful entrepreneur. There are some steps that we have to go through. The first step is we have to go through the discovery stage, right? We have to first discover, right? The discover, right? Discovery is the first stage of your entrepreneurship. Okay. So I think I have already given that the entrepreneurial process includes 5 steps. The discovery. Number two, after this, right? After this, you have to go through concept development. Discovery, concept development, and then resourcing, and then actualizing, and finally harvesting. And these are the steps that you have to follow if you are going through the entrepreneur process, right? Entrepreneur can process, right? Follow these processes, right? These are just this is a general theory, right? This is a general theory that you have to go through. First, you have to discover, then you have to develop the concept, then you are resourcing, and then you're actualizing, and then finally you are harvesting. Now we'll see what does these steps mean, right? What does these steps mean, right? Now, for example, like first one is the discover, right? We'll identify what is this discover. It says generation of new ideas, identifying opportunities by studying the environment as well as the study of the market occurs in this stage. That means discovery is a point, right? Discovery is a point where you are identifying. You're identifying what? You are identifying a market problem, right? A problem in the market, an opportunity, right? A pain point, right? A pain point that you might have, a pain point that the customer might have, a pain point someone in the society has. You are identifying a problem and you are identifying an opportunity. That is discover. right? Society ke මෙහෙම problem එකක් තියෙනවා. Economy එකේ මෙහෙම problem එකක් තියෙනවා. Right? You're not coming up with a solution or anything. You just come up with the problem. You see, there are people who are like who doesn't have vehicles. They struggle to go home after 5 p.m. Right? They are finding it difficult to go home after 5 p.m. Because they don't have a bus. So that's a problem. Right? You identify. Main problem nothing. Then you have to develop the concept. Right? Now you have to develop business idea. Right? Develop a business idea. Right? It says well. In this stage, the business plan is prepared. It submits a detailed and clear review of the business idea. That means now you are creating a business idea, right? You are creating a business idea. What can I do, right? For this problem? What is the solution that can I give? You are creating a business idea. You are creating a business idea. තාම මේ business එක පටන් ගන්න මුකුත් නෑ. Still you are creating the idea. Right? You are coming up with options. We can do this. This is not good. This is not good. We'll do this. You come up with ideas. That is your concept development. Now, after you have a rough idea, not the perfect idea, after you have the rough business idea, to implement this idea, what you need? You need the factors of production. You already have the entrepreneurship, but you need the land, labor, capital, knowledge, information, right? You need other resources. What are you doing? You are collecting the factors of production. That is what we call resourcing. We are collecting the factors of production. We are finding land, labor, capital. So that is what we call resource. You know the problem. You know, okay, this is the solution that I'm going to give. To implement this solution, you need resources, and now you are finding resources. And then, once you have the resources, once you have the business idea, what you can do is you can implement. Right? We can implement. Start, right? Use those resources. You start your business idea. And that is what we call actualizing. Right? And the main solution is them, right? They are coming up with pick me, right? Pick me in idea, right? A taxi where you can call, right? You can call a taxi by using mobiles. Taxi book. So that is the solution that we are coming up. This is what we call as actualizing. You are building the solution now. Your idea is now being built using these resources. Okay, idea is then build it by using the factors of production. That is what we call as actualizing. You are actually you are actually coming up with a solution. And after you actualize, after you come up with the perfect solution, right? After you build the solution, solution what you do? Now, once you have the solution, you are offering it to the market, right? You're offering the solution to the market, and you are making money out of it. On the picnic laptop, Hello laptop, Uber laptop, and then a product circle. You are harvesting what you have made. Right? You are getting the benefits. Right? You are reaping the benefits out of what you have built. On a problem, make a solution. From this solution, now people are paying you money. And that is what we call harvesting. Okay. Making decisions for the future growth and development of the business is carried out at this stage. Now we are trying to develop the business. Already you have now come up with the solution. You are making money. You are thinking, okay, what can I do in the future? Right? How can we upgrade the business? How can we earn more profits? Those things are now decided here. So those are what you call the steps of the entrepreneurial process. Discovery, you identify the problem. Concept development, you come up with a business idea for this. Resourcing is you find factors of production. And actualization is where you are building the solution by using the factors of production. Harvesting is you are getting the benefits of your entrepreneurial skills. This is what I call the entrepreneurial process. I hope you have understood what this is about. Clear? Right. So next we will discuss what is or who is an entrepreneur. What is the difference between a businessman and an entrepreneur? Right? Entrepreneur කෙනෙක්ගේ businessman කෙනෙක්ගේ වෙනස මොකක්ද සහ entrepreneur කෙනෙක් කියන්නේ කවුද? And for entrepreneur, what are the characteristics that you might have, and what are things that you need, right? Characteristics that you need to have, and what are the skill sets that you should possess to be a entrepreneur. And then with that, this entrepreneur lesson over, right? This is a very small lesson, and also we have to discuss how can you improve your existing entrepreneur skills as well. Medical development percent in a two part a very small one, right, compared to others, but entrepreneurship is a very small aspect. Now, discussing the definition, what an entrepreneur is, right? Who an entrepreneur is? A person who generates innovations by extracting environmental opportunities created by bearing risks can be identified as an entrepreneur. A person who creates innovations by extracting environmental opportunities in a creative manner is what we call as an entrepreneur. Okay, entrepreneur කෙනෙක් වුණාම, right? Entrepreneur, what he does is he sees, right? He sees business opportunities, he sees market opportunities. He's a person who is always seeking opportunities. Opportunities opportunity are then. Entrepreneur is a person who is seeking opportunities and then he provides innovations. He provides innovations to satisfy these opportunities, and he grabs these opportunities by providing innovations. And this person is what we call an entrepreneur. निकाल में इधर मेरे like दस हजार बिजनेस करने वालों से entrepreneur කෙනෙක් නෙමෙයි. මම tuition කරනවා මම entrepreneur කෙනෙක් නෙමෙයි. What I do is business. The entrepreneur means a person who identifies, okay, there is a problem in the market. And then you address that problem by innovative product. And that is what we call entrepreneurship. Innovative කියන්නේ 100% brand new වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. 100% brand new idea එකක් නෙමෙයි. තව කෙනෙක් දැන් තමත් කරන but ඊට වඩා මම වෙනසක් කරලා මම දෙන්නේ. Right? I am building some changes for the product and I am providing it. Again, දැන් ගන්නකො දැන් මේ pick me Uber is already there. But Hello, they came up with a solution that pick me and Uber doesn't have. Right? අන්නේ වගේ පොඩක් ක්‍රියේටිව් විදිහට මොකක්ද පොඩ්ඩක් චේන්ජ් කරලා ඉන්න බිස්නස් එකකට කියනවා innovative or entrepreneurial product. Now, well, right, who is an entrepreneur, right? My definition එක මම ආයෙ පාරක් කියවන්නම්. Write down who an entrepreneur is. A person who generates innovations, right? A person who generates innovations by extracting environmental opportunities, creatively by bearing risk, can be identified as an entrepreneur. So this is what we call an entrepreneur. Okay. So then we'll see what are the differences, right? We'll differentiate who an entrepreneur is, right? Entrepreneurship what does that differentiate කරන්න ගමු. Now I have given you a table, right? I have given you a table, right? Entrepreneur and businessman, right? Entrepreneur, businessman. This entrepreneur and businessman, right? They do look similar, right? They do look similar, but they are kind of different, right? They are kind of different. They are not actually similar, right? Similar again, but similar, yes, right? Let's see what. Now, entrepreneur is a person, right? Entrepreneur is a person who builds, right? Right? He is a person who is starting a business, right? He is a person who is starting a business with a brand new idea, right? He is starting a business from his own concept. Okay, starts business by own concept. Right? He is starting businesses by his own concept. That is what we call an entrepreneur. Yadim ideas with the business panaki. So he is starting businesses by his own idea, own concept. Yadim idea. But businessman, him. Gival lang right? Tapi yung ko, ha? Gival lang para ini maurari ilulu kada exam businessmen what do they do? They will copy the same thing and they will open another vegetable store next to it. Ilulu kada ilulu kada eha pattu tahu ilulu kada dar. That is what businessmen do. Parada kada parada kada eha pattu tahu parada kada dar. What is that? That is a businessman. He is always copying others and he is always doing businesses which are done by others. That means starts businesses through existing ideas. Start business with existing ideas. Starts business with existing ideas. Entrepreneur is starting business with a new idea, but entrepreneur is starting business with new idea, but businessman is starting businesses with an existing idea. He is starting businesses with an existing idea. And then next one, right? Entrepreneur thinks that he is his own competition, right? He is his own rival. Mata competition negative market. Mama he did other development. Mama Lisa did other development. Mata adak me Aniteka business karna the Aniteka on the Garani. I don't care. Right? I am my own rival. Like he is his own rival. He thinks his competition is he himself. Mata right? Mata competition negative market. Right? So we can write down here. He is his own rival. Right? He is his own rival. But when it comes to businessman, no. He thinks the opposite way. He thinks, oh, okay, Alu Padeka, right? Alu Padeka, Matara, Alu Padeka, Mehamu, so he thinks that the next person, the person in the next shop is his competition, right? Alu Padeka, I competition. So there you can write down. Has many rivals. Right? Yeah, sebenarnya alam kari manusia mana keren nih, ya kari manusia mana keren nih, apa manusia mana keren nih, iya bala sama ya business keren. Right. And then entrepreneur is an innovator, right? Entrepreneur is a person who is innovating things, right? He is an innovator. He comes up with a new business idea. He comes up with a new product. Okay, so he is always innovating. Things like an innovation, right? Things like an innovator. But businessman, he is not like that. He is always traditional. Entrepreneur always try to disrupt market, right? Market right? He's trying to disrupt market, he's trying to do something better, right? He's trying to come up with something innovative. But very traditional. Saratat mehi bidang mataman kari, ekalit mehi mataman kari, tam ihi gumai kar. He is very traditional. He is not that person who can disrupt markets. Right. Let's have another one. Entrepreneur is a person, right? Entrepreneur is a person who loves to take risks, right? He is a person who loves to take calculated risks, right? He is a person that risk के कारण क्या होती है? Very risk के कारण क्या होती है? हाँ, risk very कारण. So here you can write entrepreneur loves to take a risk, but businessman is trying to avoid risk. That means loves to take risk के model के हमारे risk के तुम करने हैं. He always go for calculated risk. මෙයාට දිනන්න පුළුවන් chance එක ගන්නවා නම් විතරයි එයා risk එක ගන්න. right? මෙයාට chance එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා දන්නවා නම් විතරයි එයා risk එක ගන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ මොඩල් එකේ හැම risk එකකම ගන්න යන්නේ. But businessman he is not like that. He always try to avoid risk. Yeah, but the businessman is very fearful. He always try to avoid risk. We can write here tries to avoid risk. Right? This person tries to avoid risk. Here he loves to take risks, but there he is trying to avoid risk. And final point, right, last point, entrepreneur is a person who is encouraged when he faces problems. Entrepreneur, personal problem biola itra dono mistake nahi, right? Reddas taking under mistake nahi. He's a person who has courage, right? He is willing to take risks. He is willing to face problems. He gets encouraged, right? Problems in order to after, right? Problems in order to after. Okay, so he is right. Encouraged to face problems. Right? He is encouraged to face problems. But when it comes to businessman, no. He is very misguided. Ayyo Prashna, Ayyo Losma, Ayyo Matane, Ayyo Garain. Right? So he is discouraged, right? Gets he is getting discouraged due to problems. Here, entrepreneur he is encouraged to face problems, but businessman he is always discouraged when it comes to problems. Right? He is discouraged due to problems. Those are the differences. You can copy down this. Right. So next, we have to discuss what are the characteristics that you can see in a entrepreneur, right? What are the characteristics and attributes that you can identify in a entrepreneur? So when it comes to characteristics, you can see the first one is the willingness to take risks. Yes. If it is an entrepreneur, the one of the main characteristics that an entrepreneur should have is the willingness to take. Yeah, risk entrepreneur is the person who is willing to take risk. He is willing to take financial risk, right? Suddenly dia kamak naik, business dia patang gan, ini mah risk dia kan kan. Kalau mana kamak naik, right? Kalau mana ini kan na mula, hari dia mana profit time kan na mula. Ini mah kita nama business keren, right? So the ability to, right, the willingness to take risk, that is one. Number two is the creativity. This person sees things different. Like an entrepreneur is a person who sees things different. He is completely how he looks at the market is completely different. Right? Traditional විදිහට බලන්නේ right? එයා completely වෙනස් විදිහ වෙනස් point of view එකකින්. අනිත් අය බලනකොට වෙනස් විදිහකට තමයි එයා market එක දිහා බලන්නේ. Opportunities දිහා බලන්නේ. Problems දිහා බලන්නේ. So he is creative. And then there is commitment. වැඩක් පටන් ගත්තොත් he is putting his full dedication and commitment to do this. දැන් භාගෙට නවත්තනවා. දවසෙන් එපා වෙනවා. දවස් 10ක් කරලා සේල් එකක් වුණ නැති වුණාම අයින් වෙනවා. එහෙම නෙවෙයි. An entrepreneur is a person who is giving his fullest commitment, right? He is keeping his commitment throughout the day, right? Throughout the time period, he is keeping his commitment. ඔහොම හරි මේ වැඩේ කොට දාන්න. So that is his what you call commitment. So that characteristics also can be seen in an entrepreneur. And then the self-confidence. Having the trust in your own self. තමන් ගැන තමන්ට විශ්වාසයි. තමන් ගැන තමන්ට තමන් මේ වැඩේ කරන වැඩේ තමන්ට ගොඩ යන්න පුළුවන් සහ අනිත් අයට ගොඩ යන්න පුළුවන්. Right? You are believing in yourself. That is your self-confidence. Right? Building your self-confidence. And then self-reliance. You are depending on yourself. Right? You are not waiting until others to come and save you. තව කෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා මාව ගොඩ දායි තව කෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා මාව බේරගනී කියලා හිතන්නේ නැහැ. තමන් ඉස්සර තම අතමිය සෙවණේ කියලා හිතාගෙන තමන්ට තමන්ම තමයි in. Right? So you are being self-reliant. You are relying on your own self. You don't wait for others. You become independent and you become strong. So that is what you call being self-reliant. So those are some of the characteristics or attributes that you have or that you can see when it comes to a entrepreneur. Right? Those are some attributes that you can see when it comes to an entrepreneur. Simple as that. Okay. So characteristics can name කරගන්න මතක තියාගත්තොත් ඇති. And then with that, you have to go for the other one, that is the skills, right? The entrepreneurial skills, right? The skills that an entrepreneur should have, right? Now, when it comes to skills, an entrepreneur should have one skill is the leadership. Right? One of them is over. When it comes to entrepreneurial skills, first one is that you should have leadership skills. Right? You should have leadership skills. Now, leadership skills is where, right? Leadership skill is where. Now, for example, Steve Jobs. Like Steve Jobs is a good example for leadership. He is like when he was alive, when he was in Apple company, the way he led the company, right? Way how his ideas, right? Steve Jobs sama Apple company का start करला एक Apple iPhones, right? Apple computers, MacBooks, ये पाथ ने अपना Steve, right? Yeah, leadership right? Because of his leadership, because of his entrepreneurial characteristics, because of his innovativeness, he is the one who took Apple to the state it is right now. So having a good leadership is important, right? It is very important for an entrepreneur, right? And then having good interpersonal skills. Right? That means ability to interact with others. Or interact right? Ability to talk, ability to influence other people, ability to interact, right? Ability to build relationship with other people, right? Where gaps supply relationship contact you have to start networking. Talk with everyone, build relationships with everyone, right? So that is good relationship. And then the other one is communication skills. Communication skills means how you talk to other people, how you deliver a message, right? Tanakada gihilla gotaga hinawadu, right? Katha kaniya tata gotaga hanawadu. So, are you able to communicate a message in a particular way, right? Can you negotiate, right? Ability to negotiate with suppliers, right? Communication. Ability to talk with your customers, right? Ability to introduce new products to the customers. Your communication. Ability to talk with your employees, right? Ability to talk with investors, right? मैं हमों तक relationship का build करेगा ना on the communication में build करेगा बिना the communication skills, right? Internal external parties तक on the relationship का build करेगा ना यार तक messages communicate करना हुआ ना that what we call as communication skills. And finally, we need to have basic management skills. You need to have management skills, right? You need to know what is planning. You need to know what is organizing. You need to know what is leading, what is control, right? Planning, organizing, leading, control. Business आप manage कराने, plan कराने, right? Organize कराने को होगा, events organize कराने को होगा, promotions organize कराने को होगा, business आप plan कराने को होगा, right? How do you organize certain How do you lead? How do you control? All these things should be known by, right? Counter. You need to have at least basic management skills. Basic level level තියෙන. හරියට business එක manage කරගන්න බැරි නම් entrepreneur කෙනෙක් කියලා ආඩන්නේ you are unable you are unable to conduct the business. You can't do proper planning, you can't do proper organizing. So that is not going to work. You need to have those basic managerial skills if you are an entrepreneur. But so that's what discussed here are the skills that you should possess when it comes to an entrepreneur. And then for the last part of the day, we'll see how an entrepreneur can improve his or her skills. මෙන්න මේ skills ටික, right? එන මෙතන තිබ්බ skills ටික කොහොමද entrepreneur කෙනෙක් develop කරගන්න, right? How can he develop? How can he improve these skills that he has? Or sometimes a මනුස්සයාට මේ skills නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සමහර මනුස්සයෙක්ට මේ skills චුට්ට චුට්ට තියෙනවා නේද? අඩු වැඩි වශයෙන් චුට්ට චුට්ට තියෙනවා. So how can you improve this skill? Right? So that's what we are going to discuss now. So how to improve? How to improve? The first one is first you have to do a self-evaluation. A self-evaluation. That means you need to know first about yourself. What are the skills that you have? Right? What are the skills do you? What entrepreneur? If you are an entrepreneur, what are the skills that you have? Are you good at leadership? Are you good at management? Are you good at communicating? Are you good at building interpersonal relationships? So you have to do a self-evaluation. You have to study about yourself. Okay? There are some online tests as well, like test right? You can do some online, like there are some questions that you have to answer. Then you can understand about yours. Okay? Self-evaluation. You have to do a small SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, right? You do a SWOT analysis about your own self. So then you can identify things, right? Self-evaluation. After you do self-evaluation, you now get to know, okay, what leadership should talk to you, communication done great bindu but the management skills should talk to you, that you get to know. What you can do? You can go for training, right? You can get training, right? Training opportunities done. If you are bad at talking, if you are bad at communicating, you can go for a communicate, right? You can learn communication. You can what do you call go for this Toastmasters clubs or anything. You can get training regarding how to talk, right? Public speaking, right? So you go for training. Or else, what you can do? You can get education. You can get education. You can go for a degree. You can go for a professional course like SIMA, ACCA, like SIMA, ACA, right? Chartered marketing. Right? You can study. You can go for a degree or something. Right? Education. Our skill are improve. Right? Other part knowledge you can improve. So we are getting education. And then you can improve by your experience, the free one. You try everything, you try this, that, you try everything, you get your experience out of the, like, you get experience out of doing things. Karla balla, right? Karla balla, right? Practical or experience. Before you become an entrepreneur, try to do some to work, right? Madam, work, right? A worker, then what experience they are. So that is building experience. When you are building experience, so experience can be sometimes free, right? Anita right? Right? Other people they do things and sometimes they are kelogan. Right? When minister they will get kelogan. Taking up tignaga. Apikar Samara they will get application. Taking tignaga. Right? Orders you can learn by your experience or maybe through your other people like surrounding like experience. So all this will help you to improve the entrepreneurial skills and characteristics that you have. Education, experience, training, self-evaluation, all these things will lead you to improve your right. All this will improve, right? Will improve your entrepreneurial characteristics, right? Entrepreneurial characteristics are skills that you will have, right? Ultimate goal is there to improve the entrepreneurial characteristics and skills by self-evaluation, by training, by education, and by experience. Okay, so those are the methods. And I guess you have an understanding, right? I guess you have an understanding regarding what entrepreneurship is, what are the types of entrepreneurships, what is the entrepreneurial process, what are the skills, what are the characteristics that an entrepreneur should have, and how can an entrepreneur develop his existing skills. On the way to the main lesson make a so that is the summary of this lesson. So I think everything that I have discussed with you is clear. And if you have questions, don't worry. Talk to me. You can ask questions, no problem. Or else you can WhatsApp me, right, sir, but make a room, just give me a text. I'll try to re-explain. Right. And then with that we can wind up for the day. Thank you and God bless.